Have you ever felt overwhelmed by negative emotions? Anger, anxiety, frustration, they rise like a storm, clouding your judgment and pulling you away from calmness. But what if I told you that you have the power to control them? Stoicism teaches that emotions are not the enemy, but something you must learn to master. In this video, I'll share with you 5 Stoic principles to help you manage negative emotions and stay composed even in the face of life's toughest challenges. Each principle is more than just theory. They're practical steps you can start applying today to take control of your life. If you're ready to unlock your mental strength and become the master of your emotions, watch this video till the end. If you're new to my channel, don't hesitate to hit the subscribe button and like the video to receive more awesome content. Negative emotions are like storms in the mind. They strike suddenly, sweeping you into a whirlwind of anger, anxiety, fear, or frustration. To master them, the first step is to recognize and accept them instead of suppressing or denying them. Stoicism emphasizes that while we can't control the arrival of emotions, we can absolutely control how we respond to them. When you identify your emotions clearly, they lose their power to control you. This isn't just abstract theory, it's a skill you can train. Imagine emotions as a stranger knocking at your door. If you don't know who they are, they might feel threatening. But if you face them, name them, and recognize them as temporary, they lose their power to scare you. For example, when you feel anger rising, don't let it push you into immediate action. Pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, what exactly am I feeling? Is this really as serious as it seems? Naming your emotion separates you from the immediate intensity, making it easier to regain control. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Emotions are a natural part of the human experience, but letting them dictate your actions is a choice. When you clearly identify your feelings, you reclaim control over your mind. However, recognition alone isn't enough. The next step is acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean surrender. It means acknowledging the presence of an emotion without judgment. Most emotional pain doesn't come from the feeling itself, but from resisting it. When you try to fight sadness or deny it, that resistance only prolongs the pain. Instead, try observing your emotions as an outsider, like watching clouds drift across the sky. You don't need to push them away or hold on to them. Just let them pass naturally. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Practicing this takes time. One effective method is emotional journaling. Spend a few minutes each day writing down how you feel, what triggered those feelings, and how you responded. This habit helps you recognize recurring emotional patterns and understand yourself more deeply. Additionally, practicing the pause and observe technique can be a powerful tool. Whenever a strong emotion arises, pause for 10 seconds, focus on your breathing, and ask yourself, how serious is this really? Will it affect me long term? This brief pause helps you regain composure and respond with reason rather than impulse. As you master the art of recognizing and accepting your emotions, you'll realize that most negative feelings lack real power. They're fleeting reactions of the mind, not absolute truths. You'll no longer be swept away by emotional storms, but will stand as a calm observer, maintaining clarity even in life's most challenging moments. That's the power of self-mastery, and it all begins with the courage to face your emotions. Negative emotions are not the problem. The problem arises when we allow those emotions to control our actions. Anger alone cannot create consequences, but when we act on that anger, raising our voice, hurting others, making rash decisions, we become the source of the negative outcome. Stoicism emphasizes that emotions are instinctive, but actions must be guided by reason. Emotions are a natural biological response, but letting them dictate how you face life is a form of surrender. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are troubled by something, it is not the thing itself that distresses you, but your interpretation of it." This means every emotion is merely a signal, not a command. When you feel anger, frustration, or fear, the emotion itself isn't the problem. It's simply the mind's reaction to an undesirable situation. But choosing to act on those emotions is entirely within your control. Imagine receiving criticism. Your first emotion might be anger, the impulse to retaliate immediately. But if you pause, take a deep breath, and think, you'll realize that reacting impulsively won't change the facts, but could damage your relationships. This is the power of separating emotion from action. Recognizing that emotions are temporary waves, but your actions can have lasting consequences. Epictetus once reminded us, it is not events that upset us, but our interpretations of them. Your response determines the outcome, not the initial emotion. To practice this, develop the habit of pausing. When strong emotions arise, resist the urge to react immediately. Stop and ask yourself, is this emotion truly necessary? Does it serve me in this moment? What will acting on this emotion lead to? That small gap between emotion and action is where you reclaim control over your life. The Stoics understood that while emotions are temporary, the consequences of rash actions can last forever. When you separate emotions from actions, you stop being a victim of instinctive reactions and instead become the master of yourself. In reality, negative emotions are often exaggerated responses from the mind. When anxious about an upcoming challenge, you might feel paralyzed as if failure is inevitable. But when you separate the emotion from reality, you'll realize that anxiety simply signals you care about success. It's not a reason to stop. Similarly, when you feel hurt by someone's words, the pain doesn't come from the words themselves, but from how you choose to interpret them. Separating emotion from action doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It means acknowledging their presence without allowing them to dictate your choices. Seneca once warned, anger is a kind of temporary madness. True strength is remaining calm even when storms rage in your mind. Mastering this skill is challenging but entirely achievable. Start by acknowledging your emotions as they arise, and then asking yourself, if I don't react immediately, will this situation really get worse? If I respond with reason, how could the outcome improve? Remember, emotions are just messengers. You decide how to act. Stoics are not emotionless, but understand that while feelings are temporary, calmness and reason are true power. Don't let fleeting emotions control you. Master your actions. Most emotional distress and negative feelings stem from worrying about things beyond your control. You fear how others perceive you, stress over the outcome of events yet to unfold, or feel frustrated by injustices you cannot change. Stoicism emphasizes a core principle: focus on what you can control and let go of the rest. Epictetus taught, some things are up to us and some are not. We should concern ourselves only with what we can control. This isn't just philosophy, it's a practical guide to free your mind from unnecessary burdens. Imagine your life as two circles. The inner circle contains what you can fully control: your thoughts, words, actions, and how you respond to challenges. The outer circle includes what you cannot control: others' opinions, the past, the weather, and external results. When you direct energy toward things outside your influence, you waste mental strength on what cannot be changed. Worry doesn't alter outcomes. Fear doesn't prevent the future. But if you shift focus to what you can control, preparation, attitude, and reactions, you reclaim power over your life. For example, when preparing for an important job interview, you can't control whether the interviewer likes you, but you can control how well you prepare, how clearly you communicate, and how calmly you present yourself. If you focus on improving these controllable factors, you'll feel empowered regardless of the result. On the other hand, if your mind fixates on the fear of rejection, you're allowing external factors to dominate your emotions. Focusing on what you can control doesn't mean ignoring the world. Stoics didn't avoid reality. They chose to respond actively. They understood that while the external world can't always be changed, they could always change how they faced it. Marcus Aurelius, facing wars, plagues, and betrayal, held to this principle: do not waste energy on what is beyond your reach. Focus on what you can do right now. How can you apply this principle practically? Develop the habit of mental separation by asking, is this within my control? If the answer is no, let it go. If yes, take action. You can create two lists: what I can control, my reactions, preparation, effort, words; what I can't control, others' opinions, outcomes, societal judgments. Direct all your energy toward the first list. When you focus solely on what you can control, you'll feel lighter, less anxious, and more effective. External challenges will no longer shake your inner stability. This isn't indifference, it's wisdom. It's the realization, I can't change everything, but I can control how I respond. Seneca once wrote, "The only thing you truly own is yourself. Don't let external things rob you of your inner peace." Ultimately, remember, true strength doesn't come from controlling the world, but from controlling yourself. Those who focus on what they can govern remain grounded, while those who obsess over the uncontrollable live in constant anxiety and frustration. Pour your energy into what you can master. That is the path to true freedom. Let's build a community of kindness by subscribing to Stoicism for Success right now and sharing it with those you wish to see live with kindness and strength like us. Let's spread these positive values together. Negative emotions often don't arise from objective reality, but from how we interpret events. One person rejected from a job might feel worthless, while another sees it as a chance for self-improvement. Stoicism emphasizes that emotions are not caused by circumstances, but by our interpretation of those circumstances. Epictetus once said, "It is not events that disturb us, but our thoughts about them." Critical thinking is the skill that helps you separate emotions from facts, challenge distorted beliefs, and maintain inner calm. When negative emotions arise, the mind tends to exaggerate problems, turning minor events into perceived disasters. For example, a critical remark from your boss might make you think, "I'm a failure, I'll never succeed." But with critical thinking, you would see that a single criticism does not define your entire worth. It's just feedback, not an absolute truth. Seneca once taught, "Fear is often just a product of imagination, not reality." Critical thinking requires the ability to question and challenge your own thoughts. When experiencing strong emotions, pause and ask yourself, is this truly the reality? Do I have clear evidence supporting this thought? Would others in my position think the same? By questioning your thoughts, you create distance between emotion and reality, allowing for clearer, more rational decisions. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "What you hear isn't always the truth. Ask yourself, is this truly as bad as I think?" One of the most practical ways to cultivate critical thinking is journaling. When facing strong negative emotions, write down what you're feeling and then analyze. Where is this emotion coming from? Am I exaggerating it? Do I have concrete evidence to support this belief? Writing helps you examine the situation objectively, separating emotion from reality. Rather than letting fear or anger dictate your behavior, journaling forces your mind into a rational state. This skill is especially crucial in conflict situations. When someone insults you, the instinctive reaction may be anger or retaliation. But if you pause and ask, is this person really trying to harm me, or are they expressing their own struggles? Will reacting this way improve the situation? You'll be better equipped to respond calmly and with reason. Another powerful technique for critical thinking is perspective reversal. When facing a negative situation, intentionally shift your viewpoint. If you fail at a project, instead of thinking, "I'm a failure," ask yourself, could this be a valuable lesson for growth? What would I do differently next time? This shift in interpretation trains your mind to remain calm and see setbacks as opportunities for improvement. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way. The obstacle is the path." At its core, critical thinking reveals that negative emotions often don't reflect reality, but result from distorted interpretations. When you master the ability to question your thoughts, you stop being a victim of your feelings and become the master of your mind. Critical thinking doesn't mean denying emotions, but understanding and managing them. It allows you to acknowledge their presence without letting them dictate your behavior. With regular practice, you'll realize that most fear, frustration, and anger are temporary illusions. They have no real power over your life unless you allow them to. That is the true strength of a rational mind. Life is inevitably filled with challenges, losses, and hardships. Resisting reality only prolongs suffering. Stoicism teaches that inner peace does not come from controlling everything around you, but from learning to accept reality as it is. Acceptance is not surrender or passivity, but facing life with clarity and courage. Epictetus once said, "Do not demand that events happen as you wish. Wish for events to happen as they do, and you will find peace." Acceptance means acknowledging that some things are beyond your control. You cannot change the past, control how others think, or influence every outcome in life. The only thing you can truly control is how you respond to those events. When loss occurs, pain is natural, but the pain doesn't stem from the event itself. It comes from how you interpret it. By resisting reality, you create mental suffering. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Acceptance doesn't mean indifference or emotional detachment. It means having the courage to face reality without avoidance. When losing a loved one, grief is natural, but instead of being consumed by it, a Stoic learns to accept that loss is part of the natural order. Marcus Aurelius, despite experiencing the death of loved ones, maintained his composure because he understood everything in life is temporary. We can only control how we cherish moments while they last. Practicing acceptance is not passive resignation, but a skill to be developed. Start by observing your emotions instead of being consumed by them. When faced with difficulties, ask yourself, can I control this? If not, what can I learn from it? For example, when experiencing failure, instead of self-blame, acknowledge that failure is part of personal growth. Denying reality keeps you trapped in frustration. Acceptance, on the other hand, frees your energy to focus on what can be changed. A practical technique is to view situations from a long-term perspective. When facing a difficult moment, ask yourself, will this still matter in 5 years? Most emotional reactions are temporary, yet we often exaggerate their significance. The Stoics remind us, time will eventually heal all wounds, but wisdom can do so immediately. Another powerful method is the Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum, negative visualization. This mental exercise involves contemplating potential worst-case scenarios, losing a job, a relationship breaking down, or declining health. By imagining these situations mindfully, you realize that you can still endure, rise, and move forward. This reduces fear and anxiety because you've already accepted hardship as a natural part of life. Ultimately, practicing acceptance means understanding the impermanence of all things. People, possessions, status, all can be lost. Clinging to what you cannot control is the root of suffering. But when you accept loss as inevitable, you begin to value the present more deeply. Seneca once wrote, "We do not truly own anything. Everything is merely borrowed temporarily." Acceptance doesn't make you weak, it makes you stronger. It is the power of facing reality with calmness, neither avoiding nor complaining. When you master acceptance, nothing external can shake your peace of mind. The world around you may change, but your inner tranquility will remain intact. That is the true power of a Stoic mind. Negative emotions are not your enemy. They are signals from the mind, reminding you to pay attention and make adjustments. Stoicism teaches that while you cannot control the arrival of emotions, you can fully control how you respond to them. By recognizing and accepting emotions, separating them from actions, focusing on what you can control, practicing critical thinking, and embracing acceptance, you cultivate unshakable inner strength. It is not circumstances that define you, but how you respond to them. Anger, fear, and disappointment can become tools for personal growth if you learn to master them. Seneca once said, "Nothing is truly good or bad, only our perception makes it so." Starting today, stop letting emotions control you. Face them with reason, calmness, and clarity. You are the master of your mind. You have the strength to overcome any challenge. True tranquility is not passive resignation, but the highest expression of wisdom and courage. Thank you for watching this video. Let's support our wonderful community by hitting subscribe and turning on notifications right now. Show everyone that you're living kindly by liking the video and sharing your experiences in the comments. Take action now to spread positive energy.